Hey guys, Moneyman300 got another video here today. This time it's a commentary and it's going to be about things I'd like to see in the next Forza game, whatever that might be, or whenever. I should say whenever that might be. I think we can all assume there will probably be a Forza 6, but probably not this year. Maybe the year after. They're usually on an every other year cycle. You may see a Forza Horizon title this year. But anyway, the gameplay in the background is just some random single player. I'll get in there from time to time and play some single player, just somewhat relaxing compared to the multiplayer, but just some random single player gameplay in the background. But let's get right to it. Let's talk about this. So this isn't to in any way, shape, or form bash Forza 5. This is just to talk about things I would love to see in the next one and get some ideas out there that I think would be super cool. Number one thing I would like to see, and maybe these are in no order, so I would say number one, but one thing I would love to see is a companion app, an app for, and I'd like to see this not just for mobile, but for the PC also. So I don't, I want to be able to go online outside of my Xbox, buy a car, build it, get a base tune on it, paint it. You know, for those of you that are livery guys, be able to design, especially on the PC. I think that could be huge and pretty cool. And then be able to, the next time you log in, have that pulled into the game. This isn't an unheard of concept. Games like Call of Duty have been doing this for a while, and that you could go online with a companion app in Call of Duty, configure out your class loadouts, play around with them, and then when you log into the game, it's already there. I think it would be super cool to be able to go on there, browse cars, look, buy. You know, it could be a tedious process if you're out there buying a lot of cars and doing all that. If you could do that, if I could be sitting on my couch and doing that, don't always have access to sit at my Xbox. So get on there, buy some cars, you know, get them configured, look through my garage, just kind of all that kind of stuff. Look at statistics, maybe even have a link to be able to watch live streaming from there. You know, people that are streaming out on Twitch, have that show up in the game on Forza to help promote that ability some more. So all of those types of things, I think a companion app. They talked about this a long time ago, and I think it was in between Forza 2 and Forza 3 actually doing something like this, and maybe they weren't able to make it work then, but I think now is the time. A lot of the new games are coming with companion apps and things that just really add to the game. But I think companion app, to me, that would be outstanding for the way I play the game. That would work really well. So that's one thing I would want. The next thing on my list is stats. We need more stats in this game. You should be able to slice and dice and look at stats in lots and lots of different ways. More in-depth leaderboards. I should be able to filter and sort and go through leaderboards on there and have that available in the companion app, on a website, and in the game also. I would love to be able to go out there, take a car, and see how this particular car on a particular track stacks up against the same cars on those same tracks, and then even allow me to sort and pick running specific, either no assist. Maybe I want to see how I'm doing in, with the C-Class Subaru on Sebring with no assist, and how does that stack up with the other people that are racing that same way? Or, how does that car stack up overall, assists or not? But just allow people to just have more stats available. This should be, and I say this, and I know programming's programming, but I've been in IT for almost 20 years, so I have a fairly good understanding of what some of these things take. But you should be able to have all these stats and make them available to players, all the different times and tracks, maybe average times, hardcore. I mean, I've heard hardcore leaderboards thrown around, and I can go out to Forza stats and start to get a sense for some of this. But I think this really should be included in the game, in the companion app. Have an area where we can really parse and for the guys that like the stats, really get into the stats. So I think that would be really cool also. I think more attention to multiplayer. I feel like multiplayer is a little bit of an afterthought in this game, and almost in all of the games. And the driving physics in this game are the best on the console, and I'm highly confident in saying that. I don't think there's anything hardly even close. Give us some more capabilities and some more attention in multiplayer. I would love to see, and here's some examples of things I'd like to see. Some way to have a black flag support or to limit the crashing in there. I don't quite have any ideas how that would work, but it would be nice to be able to have a system that could identify those people that are intentionally crashing, and in some cases even unintentionally. Meaning if you are crashing several times in a race, even if it's unintentional and maybe you're driving a car that's too much for you to handle, or a beginner driver, there still should be some sort of black flag or pullover system implemented. I'm not quite sure how that would work. At a bare minimum, if you get, and this is a credit Rock King 3 for this idea, we were talking about this the other day, but at a minimum, if you get one lap down, you should be ghosted. You should not be on the track. That would right there help eliminate crashers that sit on the track and just wait for other people to come around, start going, get themselves to turn back into a real car and then crash people. If you're a lap down, permanent ghost, bam, fix. That should be a really easy one. So at a minimum that, but some other kind of black flag support would be super cool. Hosting your own public lobbies. This isn't a huge deal for me, but it would be pretty cool to go out there, just set up your lobby, and then people could search for things and they would find your lobby if it's the type of thing that you're out there for. Most games have went away from this, so I'd be really surprised if they added this in. This was very typical years back in PC games and that, but it's kind of went to more of the matchmaking style. So if it's going to stay with the matchmaking style, it'd be kind of cool if they had a little bit more of an ELO type skill-based matchmaking, and that might help with some of the crash up lobbies as well. And maybe if you're a little bit better driver, you're going to get matched up with people that are more your type. Now, for those types of things to work, we need more players in multiplayer. But I think if more time was dedicated to the multiplayer side of the game, I think you would get more players. So I would like to see some sort of skill-based matchmaking. Then League, and this kind of goes hand in hand a little bit with car club support. And I know this is something that they had previously, at least car club support. Bring that back, and then bring in some sort of league support. There's some leagues that go on outside of Forza, but a system inside the game that will allow you to have these types of leagues with moderators and things of that nature. That would be pretty cool as well. So that's some of my ideas on the multiplayer side. And I'm not going to get into, hey, more cars, more tracks. It's kind of an obvious thing. I'm pretty satisfied with what we've got from the cars and tracks in Forza 5. I know it's less than what's been in previous titles, but in my mind, the models we have are better, the physics are better, the track models are better, so I'll take the quality all day long, and the cars will come. And if you have the Season Pass or been buying them, you have a significant more cars than what you had at launch now. Anyway, however, that obviously did cost some money, so I understand that. Single player. Number one, please make it so I don't have to leave one track and go to another before I quit. that is so annoying. If I quit there, I don't get credit for the one I did, so I have to wait for a whole nother track to load before I can quit. That's really annoying. And then being able to let me change cars in between races. I may not want to use the same car for a whole series, so to get a new car, you have to wait for the next race to load, then quit, then go to your garage, then get a car, then go load the same one again. It takes a long time to switch cars. Just let me go into the garage, switch cars. I'd love to be able to tune at that point. Oh, and back to multiplayer support. Let me tune in between races. More than just load a tune. If I want to make a quick tweak or something, maybe I want to change a gear ratio or something like that when a new track comes out, let me do that. It would be great to integrate the tuning into the multiplayer so that I could tune on the fly. Maybe I raced a car, maybe things are a little stiff, I just want to loosen some things up, I want to make some quick adjustments. I'd love to be able to do that, not only in multiplayer, but in single player. Give me some more flexibility in there to be able to do that. And I think overall, somehow make it a little bit more interesting. I think it may be a little different way of, some form of progression that and I don't know how to do it, but think of it in some form of ranking up and progression inside of single player that gives you that incentive to go from race to race, to go from series to series. I don't mind it now, but it's really just going in and racing against highly questionable drivatars, and that brings me to the next thing. I don't know about the drivatar thing. Maybe make it an option. Allow me to choose standard AI or drivatars. The drivatars aren't too bad, and especially after playing a lot of multiplayer and going back to the drivatars, I prefer the drivatars to a lot of the people in multiplayer. But at the same time, the standard AI was kind of fun because you could run some really kind of clean races and have to make some really good passes and things like that, which is just a little bit more chaotic and hectic with the Drivatar. So maybe relook at that Drivatar system a little bit and provide an option of whether people want to use it or not, while still uploading their Drivatar so that it's good for those that want to use that. So that's really all I have in single player, just some way to make the progression and how you go through it a little bit more interesting. And I don't know, maybe people can post down in the comments ideas and that may work. So clean up the menu system a little bit. It's kind of a weird menu system, and there's like a main screen and another main screen, and the game starts up, and then it takes you into like I think it takes you into your garage, and then you actually have to go back to get to the main screen. It's just a weird screen, and getting to things, it took a little bit of getting used to. I mean, it's fine now that I understand it, but it's at first was a little bit strange on how that works. So maybe rethinking how that menu screen, that's obviously a lower priority thing. I mean, certainly after you play a few times you get used to that, but still something I would like to see in there. Marketplace. So this is one that I'm not sure that I want back or not, and that's probably controversial with some people. It's actually one of the things when I went from Forza 2 to Forza 3, it's actually one of the things I'm not sure that I liked all that much, and that was the whole auction house marketplace area, selling tunes, selling paints. It seems more community oriented and collaborative now that there isn't an economy in place behind the liveries, behind the tunes. People can just choose to share it out if they want. If they want to share it out to people, they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to. One option I would like to see in there is the ability to share out an unlocked tunes and unlocked liveries. And if I want to, if I design something, and maybe I want to be collaborative, some collaborative tuning is a good example. And I've got something, and I'm working on it with maybe Rock King or somebody else. I want to say, hey, download that tune, take a look at the numbers. And I can't do that. I can't have them download an unlocked tune. Right now, we have to tell them all the numbers, and then we have to talk numbers back and forth. It'd be nice to be able to share those open and unlocked. I'd love to have that. I think that's necessary. And I'm not sure why it's not there. It would be really cool if I could share an unlocked tune with people. And not so much that I don't know about bringing back the whole auction house and that. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I wouldn't be totally opposed to it, but I do like the idea of that not having an economy behind it and just being able to, share those things out with people without having to have an economy with it. And I know you could share them out for free before, but you know how it is. The big guys and their big tunes, and somebody gets a hold of a main tune and then they try to sell it for a whole bunch, and I don't know if I like that system a whole lot. So that's my thoughts on that. Garage options, please. I would love to have more options in the garage around my cars. Multiple garage options. What I mean by that is maybe a work in process garage, where I may be working on cars, tuning them. They're not quite ready to race yet, but I might have the build done, so they show up in the menu when I'm in multiplayer, and I'm like, did I finish the build on that? Did I finish the tune? And when you got a class, I have a couple classes where I might have 25 or 30 cars in that class, and maybe 15 of them tuned and ready to go, and I don't always remember, especially if I haven't raced that class for a while. I would love to be able to categorize cars, be able to put them in different garages, a race-ready garage versus a working garage. At a minimum, be able to deep garage some cars that I'm just collecting and not going to race at all, maybe. So some options there, and then a way to categorize the cars. Allow me to tag cars. So the concept of tagging them with a track, a drive type, so you could tag them with a track or a track series, like, hey, this is an Alps tune, or multiples even. Hey, this is good on Alps and Prague and XYZ track, or this is an all-arounder and it's going to show up in all my tracks when I filter it. And then allow me to tag my cars with different tags, and all around, a speed car, a handling car, whatever those, they could either be custom tags or maybe they're predefined tags from turn 10, and then what garage they reside on. Then when I get into a multiplayer race, and I can say, hey, show me all the cars that I've got tuned, in C class for Alps and speed maybe, or all around, and it's going to show me the 2 or 3 cars that I've got there. That's what I'm looking for. And certainly, search unfiltered, but that would be a huge help in this. So, finished cars versus unfinished cars. I'd love to be able to tag all the cars so that they're much easier to find when you're in multiplayer So I'm being multiplayer and I'm browsing through the cars and I'm like, oh man, is that a speed tune? And I might have 2 or 3 of the same car, one speed, one all around. So, yeah, so the garage, that would be great as well. And I think that's all I can kind of think of off the top of my head. I'm sure there's tons of things that you guys have seen in the way that you play that you want. There's probably other things that I've thought about, but this is all I could think about in one sitting. So I'm going to end it with that. Post down in the comments if you guys have other things or you agree or disagree with some of the things that I've said. Post down in the comments of what you think and maybe some things you would like to see in a future Forza title, be it Forza Horizon, which is the most likely suspect that we're going to get this year, and then Forza 6 or whatever they call the next Forza the year after. So, which is the likely schedule that we're going to see. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we will catch you in the next one. Later.